Nikki applied another layer of red lipstick to her lips and made sure her breasts stuck out just far enough to get the attention she was hoping for. She looked across the room at her Mark and took a deep breath to steady her nerves. He was sexier than the last man she had hunted down. Hell, he was sexier than most men she had hunted down. If it wasn't for his long, dark hair, the rough beard he had on his face, and the flashy clothes he was wearing, he would have just been her type. He had been harder to find than most of the others. She had been watching this one for almost 3 days, and had at one point lost him. That was until she had gotten a lead from one of her regular snitches at a local bar. The club wasn't her style. The music was too loud, the clothes too small, and the drugs that went in and out of the place scared most people away. She tucked her small clutch purse tighter under her arm. She knew how to protect herself. She pasted on her best slutty smile and walked across the floor towards her man. She saw the second his eyes zeroed in on her, the moment desire flashed in his green eyes, and she knew she had hit her mark. "Well, hello," she purred and waited until he asked her to sit. He glanced around and quickly said, "Not now, princess. Come back in 10 minutes. Even his voice was sexier than she had imagined. She pouted and sat down beside him anyway. "What if I don't want to wait? There are a lot of other fish in this bar." She giggled and swung her arm over his shoulders and started to play with his long dark hair, wrapping it around her fingers playfully. She felt him tense, but he relaxed a little as she rubbed her breast against his shoulder. She knew how to work it, especially when so much was on the line. "Listen, I'd love to entertain you, but I have a meeting I've got to..." He stopped when 3 men dressed in nice suits walked across the room. They stopped in front of them and stood there, looking down at them. "What is this?" one of them said, looking at her. "Ditch the hoe," the other said, sitting down right across from them. She pouted and looked towards her Mark. "Come on, baby, let's get out of here." She started to tug on his arm, but he stopped her. "She just sat down. Now she's leaving." He pushed her off of him. She stood up and put her hands on her hips and looked down at him. "Jerk." She turned on her heels and walked back to the bar, pretending to be hurt. She sat down along the side of the bar where they were unable to see her and watched the 4 men while thinking of her next move. Several men approached her, asking her to buy her drinks. She turned them all down and sipped her water with a slice of lime. She watched the men arguing, and when they stood and walked towards the back exit, she followed. She wasn't going to lose him again. She made her way across the crowded dance floor, bumping into several people on her way across the room. When she stepped out into the alley with her bag in hand, she wobbled a little and purposely fell into one of the men. Looking up, she froze when she realized what was happening. Her Mark stood across from her, held up by 2 of the other men. Fresh blood dripped down his face, and she could see his lip and eyes were swelling. "Hey," she said, putting a little drunken slur in. "Is this a robbery?" She leaned against the man who she had bumped into. When she felt the gun in his inside pocket, she tried not to show her irritation. Damn, this was going to get complicated.